me to start? Or Will's going to introduce? All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Damon Jones. I'm the publisher of Black Westchester Magazine. And as you see, we're standing here in support of William Wagstaff, who is running for Westchester County District Attorney. Not only are we looking to make history as the first black man to ever held a seat, we're looking to make history to have accountability out of this office, out of this building that stands behind us. And what we are witnessing now is the usual political dogma, the usual scare tactic of trying to say this young man who has dedicated his life to civil rights and fighting for people is trying to commit fraud to get on the ballot. We're not accepting that BS right here today. We're saying that we're going to support William Wagstaff, and we're calling out Judge Cacace for these scare tactics that they're using to people of color. And we're not accepting that. So we're standing here today, and we're going to make it clear that we want freedom, justice, and equality from this building behind us. We want accountability from this building behind us.
Yes.
And William Wagstaff is the man that's going to do that no matter what. No matter what. Thank you very much.
I'm the other Damon. I'm Damon Marr. Recently retired from the county legislature over there, an operative for the Working Families Party. And I got to tell you, I got about 2/3 to 3/4 of the signatures you needed for that party. So if you have any trouble with those signatures, those petitions, you come and see me. Look me in the eye and tell me there's something wrong with those petitions. Some reason I think maybe they won't. But come on, let's do it. Where are we? Where are we? This is Westchester County, 2024. This isn't Mississippi, 1964. This isn't Jackson. This isn't Biloxi, the Delta, Macomb County, where people have to worry about signing up to vote if there are certain pigmentation. This is unacceptable. Voter suppression isn't just about telling people they can't go to the polls. Voter suppression is saying you can't sign a petition for a person that you truly believe in, that you want on the ballot, or even just to say get them on the ballot. Not even to say I'm going to vote for you, but to have the right to do so. I mean, this is pretty fundamental. I'm no longer a Democrat, but I call on the leadership of the Democratic Party in Westchester County to call this out. This is unacceptable. There's some problem, you want to mediate, that's fine, but to not give somebody the opportunity, you want to have a primary, that's fine. There's many people, I think there's 3 people in this primary, that's fine. That's the democratic way. But to throw people off the ballot on some sort of technicality or trying to intimidate people who sign, unacceptable. Don't do it. Democratic Party bosses, pull back on this. You're going to be very sorry. And now we have my favorite mayor, everybody's favorite mayor, Mayor Sean Patterson.
So I will start by saying what I said when I nominated Will Wagstaff. I don't stand here with him because he is a black man. I don't stand here with him because he is from Mount Vernon. But I stand here because he is a person who fights for justice, who fights for equity, who is not soft on crime and believes in holding people accountable for their actions. But he will do it with fairness and he will do it with honor. I can't say, look, people will say, well, Mayor Howard, when you ran, you challenged people's signatures. I sure did. And there was widespread fraud, and that was demonstrated. So I don't have a problem with people challenging signatures. I don't even necessarily have a problem with you sending someone to confirm signatures. What I do have is I have a problem with intimidation tactics that were used. I have a problem with intimidation tactics that were used against my constituents and women, because I believe 80% of the people they went to challenge, to question, and intimidate were women, black women, and women from Mount Vernon. They went up to Ossining to challenge someone. So I stand here for William, and I stand here for my constituents. But more importantly, I stand here on Sunday, which is God's Day, at the very foot of justice, which is Martin Luther King, and we hail him to be that in our community and across our country. I stand here as I've gone across the country last year and this year, and we've spoken about over 400 laws, not 400 laws, 400 proposed laws that were put forth over the past few years across this country by Republicans to take away voter rights. We've talked about gerrymandering, we've talked about intimidation, we've talked about poll taxes, we've talked about these things extensively, but we've always talked about them when we've talked about Republican tactics. But as we stand here in Westchester County, which was the blue wall for our governor, and it was clearly stated in so many news things, is how Westchester is very Democratic. And we are, and I'm very proud of us being Democratic. But now I challenge you, Westchester, not to just be Democratic, but to fight for democracy. Amen. Being a Democrat and fighting for democracy are two different things. Being a Democrat says that we believe in a democratic process. And a democratic process is not your Westchester County Democratic Committee, executive board members, calling elected officials throughout this county who endorsed Mr. Wagstaff and telling them that they needed to unendorse him. Democracy and democratic values are not calling Democratic district leaders whose Democratic committees endorsed Mr. Wagstaff and telling them that they cannot carry his petitions. Democracy and democratic values is not hiring for your campaign leadership people who do not stand with democratic values, who are not pro-choice, who are not pro-democratic, who are Republican and MAGA to the bone, and then saying that you are a Democrat. It is disgusting. Disgusting. I didn't want to get passionate because when you get passionate, they say you're an angry black woman. Wow. I'm not an angry black woman, but on today I am a black woman that's a little angry. And there's a difference because I have a right to be angry. So today I call out BS. I call out undemocratic behavior. I call out behavior that does not stand for who we are as Democrats in Westchester County. People have said, oh, well, Sean, you're playing identity politics. We've seen a lot of identity politics this political season, but it's not me who's playing them, right? You cannot say that we're being unfair, that we're being undemocratic when we choose to stand with a person that we believe. Having a primary is our right. It is the very thing that is a democratic value. Not only are they threatening to kick him off the ballot, but they are threatening and saying that they're going to get your law license. They're going to try and get you disbarred. Oh yes. They said not only will we go after him on the ballot, but we will continue to seek out his disbarment. That is the tackiest, most trifling stuff I've heard in this political theater that has become Westchester. I don't understand it. I don't understand it, and I can't stand here and tolerate it. And so trust me, people will say there's not many people standing here, and this is not identity politics. I think this is the identity of Westchester. This looks pretty diverse. And it's not because we called people out and begged people out. And there would be more people who were here, but it's church Sundays, and you know, people, they got church Sundays and other things. And I'm going to wrap up, but I'm going to say this because it's very, very important. Mr. Wagstaff and those who support him, in the midst of intimidation, in the midst against people who sit in political office and who were told to stay in line, in the midst of Democratic Party leaders and Democratic district leaders who were told to stay in line, in the midst of all types of attempts to discredit him, collected over 6,000 signatures. 6,000 signatures. And for you to say that he is irrelevant and he's really no competition, you're spending a lot of time and you're demonstrating his relevance and your fear of him is competition. So let's stop this. I'm calling out the Westchester County Democratic Committee. And I'm calling out those, and I'm not going to call them out, I'm going to cover you today. Because I've spoken to a lot of black and white elected, appointed leaders, people who work for different governments, and they say, I can't say anything. I can't say anything because I need to take care of my family. So take care of your family. Take care of your family because I can't pay your bills. They can't say anything because, you know, the bylaws of this and that say they can't endorse or they can't stand. Okay, stand behind your bylaws. I'm going to stand here for you today. I'm going to stand here for you today. Because what Martin Luther King said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where they stand in times of comfort and convenience, but where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. And we stand in times of challenge and controversy. As we stand in support of President Biden, we continuously say we are fighting for our democracy. And so today here in Westchester, in the capital of our county, outside the office where the DA will sit, at the foot of Martin Luther King, who is a drum major for justice, we are standing in times of challenge and controversy, and we're standing with Mr. Wagstaff, and we're standing with you unapologetically. Your integrity is the only thing that you have. Your name, even the Bible said, is greater than rubies and all types of things. And when you come to discredit a person's name, especially a person who stands on law, especially a person who fights for civil rights, that's beyond the pale. So thank y'all for standing with him. I know you will hear from others, and I've taken up far more time than I expected to. But I needed to say what I knew was to be true. And I needed to also speak for the people who are afraid and who are intimidated to come and stand, because this can affect their political positions. It could affect their political aspirations. It could affect their politically appointed jobs. And people say, well, it could affect you too. Yes, it can. But also, it's Sunday. And so Queen Esther said, if I perish, I perish. I'm going to see the King. We here. And with that being said, we're going to call on Miss Erica Peterson, who has a few words to say on her behalf and on behalf of democracy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erica Peterson, and I'm a resident of Mount Vernon. I'm also a voter. This past week, I was also a victim of Susan Cacace's campaign and the victim of her voter intimidation and her attempt to disenfranchise us by questioning my signature on Will Wagstaff's petition and being threatened that if I did not show up on time at home, my signature would be thrown off the petition. I want to say that I don't know what was more frightening, that I was going through that at the moment as the descendant of men and women who went through Jim Crow South, that endured the pain of being scared to go and vote, or was I more frightened that this was Westchester County in the year 2024 and this is still going on? But I do have a message for Ms. Cacace. The voters of color here in Westchester, we will not be intimidated, we will not be frightened, we will not be disenfranchised. We will show up to the polls and show you how much we want William Wagstaff in that position for District County for Westchester County. He showed up 5 times. 5 times, and told me if I did not get home by a certain time, that my signature would be thrown off. So Westchester voters, especially voters of color, we have to get out and we have to support William Wagstaff for District Attorney for Westchester County. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Nikia Highland.
Good afternoon, Westchester County.
Good afternoon.
It is beyond my understanding, as those have gone before me would say, that we are in an election in 2024 where we are trying to be intimidated for our votes, for our rights of who we are as American citizens and voters. I have been a registered voter since 1997, and I have never felt what I felt the other day by Ms. Cacace's campaign. I was threatened, I was intimidated, and on several occasions, my number was called when I blatantly said, I stand by the signature and the man, because clearly, from the campaign that he is running, I know that our children, our community members, our families, our neighbors will be treated just and fair with him at the helm of the District Attorney's office. It is imperative that we understand who we place into these elected offices. It is imperative that we do the necessary research on these people and not appoint them because of privilege, but appoint them because they are here to uphold the laws and guidelines that is set not only just here in Westchester County, but us as a nation. So I implore everyone to understand that on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, that we are here together in the support of our 6,000 plus signatures.
Amen.
Woo! And as we continue to do the work daily in our communities throughout Westchester County, I thank you for the work that has already been done so diligently, and I stand beside him in all that is to come for Westchester County. Thank you. My name is Nikia, N-A-K-I-A. Last name is Highland, H-I-L-A-N-D. Shirley. Thank you again.
Yes.
I want to thank everybody for standing with me, standing against voter intimidation, standing against voter disenfranchisement, and to all of my supporters, the more than 6,000 people that signed my petition. Let's start at the beginning. I unequivocally deny any of these false allegations launched against me and my campaign by candidate Cacace. I unequivocally stand that the first piece of property that I own was at 777 North McQuestion Parkway in the city of Mount Vernon. That is my legal address. That is where I'm registered to vote. That is where my driver's license is. That is where my law license that these cowards threaten to take is associated. So let's be crystal clear. There's no fraud. There's only fraud with that campaign and the bad actors that are pushing behind her, that are MAGA Republicans, that are scared because I'm bold, brilliant, and black.
All right.
So we are here to talk about this voter intimidation. As we stand, as the mayor, my sister said, at the foot of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we still have a lot of work to do. And the problem is they are scared that when we get in this office, the work will start to get done. They don't want this work to get done because at the end of the day, that would mean that we would have an equal and just society not controlled by 10 people in the room that thought they were going to have a coronation instead of a campaign. No, you're going to campaign against William Wagstaff. There will be no coronation. And what you don't realize is that you lost your advantage when you decided to file this frivolous lawsuit against me. Because you moved it from the back rooms where you had control to the courthouse where I shine. So let's be crystal clear. There was no fraud. That is my address. We will be on the ballot. And if it means we have to go to the Court of Appeals in Albany to make sure that the people get to choose their next district attorney, by God, we will be there. Now, if you think that you can knock on doors in the city of Mount Vernon and you're going to intimidate black women, you picked the wrong target. Because black women are the backbone of this party, and they have done so much to fight for young men like me to even be a viable candidate for district attorney. And if you think they are going to buckle, bow, or run because you sent someone to knock on their door falsely claiming to be an investigator from the district attorney's office, you got another thing coming. And you need to think about this. Let's put this in context. That the person vying to be the top law enforcement officer has sent people to misrepresent themselves to doors, all in furtherance of a false lawsuit, making false allegations. Is that who we should have with the power to put charges against people? That makes no sense. And the mayor alluded to it, but I'm going to go a little further. We didn't just start with these false allegations. We didn't just start with them trying to intimidate the voters and people that signed my petition. The intimidation in the games started back in February. Right. When they were leaning on district leaders and threatening people that if they voted for the candidate of their choosing, that there would be consequences. Whenever you have people wearing her hat, wearing her button, that come up to you at the nominating convention and say, I'm sorry, I had to do what I had to do, but I'm with you in June, that tells you that there's a fighting, distrusting, Trumpian power behind that doesn't want to see us win. That's right. The day after the nominating committee, she pulled out of the first debate where she was supposed to speak to the black and brown community. That's right. She refused to engage in dialogue when you are supposed to be the district attorney that will represent and keep safe everyone. It must have been something I said. And then they went and decided that they were going to threaten chairs, district leaders, and individuals if they were going to carry our petitions. And despite their voter intimidation, we still had over 6,000. Imagine if they would have allowed people to have their free will, how many signatures we would have had then. So I stand here to make it crystal clear, and I look you in your eye, look you in your face. Susan Cacace, there's no place for voter intimidation in Westchester County. The people will have their way. We will be victorious, and I will see you on June 25th. Thank you. That's it.